You literally just said you don't think I'm funny.
I never said that.
Yeah, you did. You're like, I wish you were this funny when we were actually doing stuff, because other than that, you're not funny. Fuck, I don't even remember what you said, but you said I wasn't funny.
Are you recording this?
No?
Very good. I want the world to think that I'm an asshole.
I'm funny, damn it. I'm a fucking riot. People giggle all the time when they see me. Or, well, maybe I should rephrase that. When they hear me? Oh,
No, you said it right the first time.
fuck you. Such a dick. So how is my not funny counterpart right now?
I'm the one that came up with Krusty Musty or Dijon Musty.
I'm also the one that came up with grab my bowl and my spoon. I thought it was funny.
No,
It was.
no.
Mm-hmm. This is a collab here. It was fucking genius.
Okay, so you are recording this, right?
Maybe.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm sound testing.
Oh.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to our channel. We're offended, you're offended. I am one half of the show, Kim, and the other half of the show,
3/4. 3/4.
three quarters. What do you mean 3/4?
3/4.
Well, I guess you do
That's
your inspirational, so I guess so. But this is this show. This is
there
where
you
we're a
go.
duo. The channel you might be in for 3/4 of it, but the actual show, you're half.
How about this for an inspirational Monday? If you turn your socks inside out, they still stink.
I thought you were going to say something like, you can wear them twice. No, but they still stink. 100% they will.
That's one thing I've never understood. Like, people say, well, you just wear your shirt inside out and you get an extra day out of it. What do you mean?
Or when people say underwear, ew.
Yeah,
like, that's
fucking
nasty. So then your little skid marks and shit like that will be like pressed up against your pants and even have less of a layer for the public's nose to smell. Gross.
Yeah. Yeah, like we wear layers so that we don't get the stench of your ass.
Yes.
So, yeah, there's your inspirational, unintended, inspirational Monday.
Beautiful. Oh,
Excuse me, sorry.
Nice.
Sorry.
This is how we're starting it, are we?
Just be happy I didn't I almost shit myself yesterday.
Ew. Why?
What?
Why?
I couldn't find a bathroom, so I just held it, and then it just goes away.
You're a truck driver. Don't you just like go on the side of the road or some shit? Go in a bucket? I don't know.
Oh yeah, I go in a bucket all the time.
Or you can be like those other truck drivers where they actually like just cut a hole in their seat and then they can go, roll and go. Go and roll.
I like that's how people say like, oh, just go pee in the pool or just go pee in the lake or whatever. Well, don't go pee in the pool. That's unless it's your own, like you're the only one swimming in it. Okay, then swim in your own filth. But like in a lake, you have to try. Like you have to just, okay, I'm gonna pee. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And it's okay, no, I'm not. No, I'm gonna do it. Isn't it weird how we've like trained ourselves
to not just free flow? Yeah. I mean, it's not weird. It's probably a good thing. But yeah, you're cognizantly making that decision that I am going to make myself pee because I don't want to get out of the lake and go pee.
Yeah.
And I mean, the pool, that's just, I don't even like taking baths because I think bathing, sitting in water, your dirty butt, sitting on the bottom of a tub that people have stood there with their dirty, gross feet. Now my vagine is touching the bottom of that. So your dirty feet goop is now touching my vagine. And I'm going to sit in my own filth. It just
The
grosses me
fuck?
out. Exactly. That's
What?
how I feel about baths. No, having a bath
Oh,
is gross.
that.
Bath.
I didn't. Well, you don't pee in it, you ding dong.
No, I'm not talking about peeing in it. I'm just saying I don't even like taking baths for these reasons. Why would I want to be in a pool with pee? Like, I don't even like sitting in my own filth, let alone. And I'm not even like super dirty or anything. It's other people's filth that's also sitting in the tub with me. It's so gross. Ugh.
Um,
That was an interesting
I don't.
rant.
I don't like. I personally, I don't like baths. I think they're. I don't know. They're. You just sit in a tub. Like you don't. It's not like. I don't even know how you wash yourself in a tub. Like in a bath. How the fuck do you wash yourself?
Well, I mean, you can lift up your arms. You have you scratch your back. You do your front. Rub your legs, lift your leg out one at a time. Like, I mean, I get how you can like
How
wash
do you
yourself
rinse
in
the
there.
soap off?
Well, you don't. You sit in it for a while, and then when you get out of the bath, or when you stand up and the bath drains, then you rinse yourself off with a shower head. Yeah,
Then why don't you just have a shower?
I don't know. Because some people like soaking in baths. Now, I understand it for, say, a therapeutic, when people have like super aches and pains and muscles and joints and shit like that, and they need that heat. That makes sense to me. Okay. I still don't like doing it, and I still don't. But it makes sense why somebody would have a bath. But just for the enjoyment of sitting in a bath, to me, it just grosses me out. When you were a kid and you had like toys and stuff, fun. But I know people who like they have baths. They'll have themselves like a nice little bubble bath and they have a glass of wine and some candles and read a book because it's super relaxing, apparently. I would not, I could see how that looks relaxing, but I can't get past the whole filth thing. So it just grosses me out.
See, I've only ever done like a bath when I'm sick, and it's normally like blazing hot. Other than that, like it makes no. I don't understand. I can't. I can think of a million other things to do instead of just sitting in a bath. Like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if it is just the kind of relaxing and I don't know. Like if you
Yeah.
just take. I don't know. I don't. I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't know. I don't get it. Like sitting in a hot tub, that sounds fun. And most people would probably be like, dude, how is it any different? It's just different. There's filters, it bubbles, it moves. You got a seat and you can just kind of like, I don't know, it's just totally different. But even still.
Yeah,
And then you
a
got
hot tub. Hot
chemicals.
tub. A hot tub, yeah. Well, you drink in a hot tub. You don't drink in a tub unless you're like a freaking wino.
Well, cheers. I'm just kidding.
um.
All right, well, that was
All
an
right.
interesting start to the show today. Um, you know, all the same stuff. Like, subscribe, leave comments, thumbs up, thumbs down. Follow us on all of our things. Listen to us everywhere because we're stalking you. And we're on Facebook, Instagram. Follow us there. Check us out. You know,
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Okay.
what is on the docket for today?
Yeah. So, there's a couple of things recently in the news. Everyone, I'm sure. Well, it's the accident that was heard around the world. Was the semi driver that collided with the school bus full of hockey players in Saskatchewan.
Yes.
So, some of the parents they made some really good suggestions during it, and some of the good things did come out of it, but the culture really hasn't shifted all that much. And this is something that has been argued for years, long before this accident happened. So, so I guess if everyone doesn't know, a driver, if I remember correctly, I believe he was a new driver. Um, Ended up running a stop sign, slammed into a school bus full of hockey players. And then I think 13 were killed and 18 were injured. if I remember correctly. But so here, let's look at this. So the first article that we have was from Global News, and this was it's titled "So How the Trucking Industry Has Changed 1 Year After the Humboldt Broncos Bus Crash."
Just
So
for clarification, so it was 16 people that were killed and 13 were injured. So you had it the other way around.
oh, okay, sorry, okay. So one thing that happened was the MELT program, the mandatory entry level training. Yeah. That was one thing that was instituted. The ELD electronic logs were, well, those are kind of coming down anyways, but they kind of, became a little more steadfast with that. One thing I found really weird, the owner of the trucking company was fined $5,000.
So what is the purpose of the owner of the company being fined?
Okay, so here. So the Canadian Trucking Alliance is also working with Transport Canada to ensure that trucking company owners are complying with safety standards. This is where, we're going to get into another article, but this is where I have no respect for someone like this. So ensure the trucking company standards are complying with safety standards. Last month, Sukhmander Singh, the owner of former Calgary-based business Adesh Deal Trucking, was handed a $5,000 fine after he pleaded guilty to 5 separate safety-related charges, which included failing to keep a driver's log, neglecting to make sure that his drivers followed safety regulations, and keeping more than one daily logbook. So the way they word that, and clarify me if I'm reading that wrong.
No, you read that correctly.
So no, but and keeping more than a single daily logbook.
Why do you need more than one?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like, but I hear daily logbook. Well, you can have individual sheets for a logbook. Normally they're just called a logbook, not a daily logbook. But he also pleaded guilty to not following or keeping a written safety program. So this has been something that's kind of plagued the industry for a very, very long time, which is why they're pushing through the ELDs. They've been in the States for a few years now already. So to clarify, anyone that doesn't know, obviously I'm in the transportation industry. I have a trucking company. But seeing a $5,000 fine. So I guess the company was issued a $5,000 fine. I'm gonna see if I can find. Oh, right here. Okay, so semi driver Jaskirat Singh Sidhu was sentenced to 8 years in prison last month for his involvement in the crash. Court heard during his sentence hearing that Sidhu was an inexperienced driver who had been on the road for only 3 weeks.
Ugh.
3 weeks. A logbook review also found Sidhu had violated 51 federal regulations and 19 Saskatchewan regulations between March 26th and March 6th.
April 6th.
What did I say?
March.
Oh, March 26th and April 6th.
51
That's
in less than a week.
51 federal and 19 provincial violations.
Holy fuckballs.
So we talked about this in a previous episode. Like something like that. Okay, maybe like in terms of a violation, it could be you didn't flag, like you didn't like draw the line to mark fueling or something. Okay, maybe you didn't enter your bill of lading number or your commodity. You forgot to add that, which yeah, we've all forgotten something, and I'm sure there's something that you've messed up on a logbook, like a minor thing, like you didn't sign one spot. or you didn't run your 70-hour totals. For anyone in the transportation industry, they know exactly what I'm talking about. But so for anyone that doesn't know, in the transportation industry, we run on cycles. So we have cycle 1 and cycle 2. Cycle 1 in Canada is 70 hours in 6 days, and I believe in the States it's 70 hours in 7 days. And then we also run in a cycle 2, which is 140 hours. It's 140? Fuck. I don't know. No one uses cycle 2, so but I think maybe it's 120 hours in 14 days. So we always have a running cycle of how many hours we work. So for anyone in that thinks, truck drivers do fuck all, no, we work between probably about 14, 16 hours per day, whether on the book or off the book. That's just how the industry is. And yeah, everything is supposed to be logged, but you have customers to get to. There's still that push to get the work done. The work has to get done. But so that's one thing that I actually found really crazy. 51 federal regulations and 19 provincial regulation violations. That's a lot for
Oh yeah. That's
27, 28, 29, 30. How many? 31. April 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 11 days to have 70 violations. Each of those violations, they can ticket you, I think it's $300 and something. I guess it varies provincially. But yeah, they're about, I would say, bare bones minimum. I think they're about $300 per violation. So, I'm not going to put this, I have a real hard time putting it on the driver. I'm going to put a lot more onus on the company. That is a company's responsibility to ensure that their driver. What?
nothing. I was just sharing a picture that I was looking at with you.
Yeah, no, yeah. Okay, so anyways, the fuck was I saying? See, now you fucking broke my train of thought. So I will put the onus on the trucking company as opposed to the driver. And to be frank, in the transportation industry, yeah, it's getting better with the melt program. That's good. But companies are slow to change. Shippers are slow to change. I have sat at customers for days. No joke. Think of you going to work. No. It's even better than that. It would be like your boss saying, come to work. And then they say, oh, well, hold on. We don't have anything planned yet. So you know what? Just go wait in your car and we'll get back. Like, I'll phone you in a bit.
Yeah, come back Saturday because we have weekend work for you, and then you don't get anything till Monday.
No, it's not even that. It's you're sitting in your car waiting. You're waiting for a phone call. So what are you going to do? Are you going to go home? Are you going to go to lunch? Well, you might get a call and, hey, we need you to go right now. Okay, well, I guess I'll be there in an hour, but I'm just sitting here waiting. So it's one thing to be like off duty. It's a different when you're off duty, but you're waiting for work. So that's one thing. Shipping customers, a lot of them don't seem to understand that, hey, we have federal regulations that we need to follow. And if we can't follow them, guess what? The shipments don't get made. And I was talking with a guy today. And and he asked me, he's like, well, how are you guys doing for your rates? I said, well, they're not great. Like, they haven't gone up really. They haven't gone down. Like, they're kind of stagnant. He says, yeah, that's the same thing for us. It doesn't, and he said, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense that there's such a driver shortage, but yet the rates haven't changed. So one of the big concerns with COVID was drivers are going to be scared to go into places.
Yeah.
And then as it progressed more and more, now states and cities are, well, and countries are starting to mandate vaccine or immunizations or vaccine cards. So some guys are going to get it, some guys aren't going to get it. Some guys aren't going to go into certain places because of it, which all disrupts the supply chain. So it ends up, it becomes like, hey, if you want your stuff hauled, well, because there's not enough people to do it, it is going to cost more in order for us to do the job for you. Or to do the job, I shouldn't say for you, to do the job. Because, well, yeah, now there's, it's supposed to be a basic idea of supply and demand. Well, if there's a lot of people that are shipping stuff compared to a lot of people hauling stuff, the things, it should more or less, be a moving scale. If there's lots of companies that are shipping stuff and a lot of product is moving, okay, so the demand for drivers goes down. But, or I guess in terms of like the rates will fall if there's lots of stuff moving. If there's not a lot of stuff moving, the rates, you would assume, would kind of go up. But we're kind of in a place where there's a lot of stuff needing to be shipped, and there's not a lot of drivers to move it. So
you think they want to give more incentive and give like, hey, I'll give you more money if you get this, get your truckers thing and come help us.
You would think, but that's been a big problem in the industry for decades. But so, in terms of like this, yeah, it did do some good things. And one thing that one of the parents had said was, I've said consistently that those guys should be treated like airplane pilots. You can wipe 20 to 30 people off the face of the earth in a plane crash. And Sindhu almost wiped 30 people off the face of the earth here. And I totally agree with him. Yep. This, I believe it was Scott Thomas, said that. I totally agree. There is a big discrepancy in terms of the amount of money drivers make compared to the sacrifices that they do make. With the amount of regulations, like you have to be an expert in what you're doing. Whether you're hauling food, any types of TDG, any types of flat decking, over-dimensional loads, like oversized loads, and you become more and more, each one is its own specialty in itself. Like, I'm not going to expect a guy that has only done flat deck work to understand how to run a reefer or what procedures he needs to do in order to keep that. It's just not going to happen. So here's an example. In order to get food from the farmer to your table, obviously it gets picked and then it gets sorted, put on boxes. Okay? So during that time, it needs to be maintained at a certain temperature. Well, whatever that temperature is. Oddly enough, I found this out recently. Cherries can be held below freezing. In fact, they're the only fruit that actually maintains, doesn't spoil below freezing. Obviously, if you get too low, yeah, but just below freezing, which normally you do not keep produce below freezing, or you keep it maybe a couple degrees above freezing. But so let's say I get to a customer. Okay, so all the product is packaged. I need to ensure the temperature was maintained. While in transit, I have to keep records of the temperature inside the trailer in order to make sure that there is no type of spoilage happening. And then I still have to drive. I still have to ensure that the bloody thing doesn't tip over, so I can't drive like a dink unless I picking fruit up off the floor.
Yay.
But so it there is a lot in doing that, and especially every single fruit is maintained at a different temperature. You cannot haul bananas with other produce. You can't. They're maintained at it's like 54 degrees Fahrenheit, while most other produce is kept at sub 30s or sub 40 degrees. Most. That's where most produce is actually kept.
Hmm.
So there are those types of challenges. So that is like, I would not expect a guy that's only done flat deck to know that. Just as I'm sure he would not expect me, someone that does do a lot of reefer work, to understand how to properly strap down something. I have a basic idea because, well, everything is written in law how you're supposed to strap and haul this stuff. So I have a basic idea, but on paper and in practice are two different things. So, it's almost each category is its own specialization. In terms of saying transporting any types of dangerous goods, there's literally a procedure for every single product that is considered dangerous. There is a procedure for every single one, and you need to make sure that, well, certain things can't be hauled together. But anyways, yeah. So I've been saying, and and this is kind of the divide that I reach. I'm not pro union. I hate unions. I think they create a lot of lazy workers, but I understand that they're to protect the worker from the employer. I understand that. My problem is someone that works hard, busts their ass because they want to do the best job possible. They can't because they're actually being forced to be mediocre. You cannot have an outstanding performer in a unionized group. There's no incentive. It's just who's clocked in and clocked out the most consecutive days. So that's a big problem for me. That's I said, I understand the union thing. I don't know if that's what it needs to be in order for rates to go up, or what. I don't know. I wish people were a little more just honest and understood the difficulty of a job, especially one where, yeah, you could be gone for up to a month where you don't see your family. And I understand, if you don't like it, don't do it. I understand the argument. Trust me, I do. I do it. So yeah, I understand the argument. But I'll say for me, it's not I'm sure I could take work ethic. You can't train work ethic. It's either in you or you don't have it. And for me, my work ethic is, I am here to do a job. I am here to do it the best way that I know how possible. Some guys are just, you know what? Something goes wrong. Oh, well, I phone the shop and I go to bed. They take care of it. Okay. I understand that argument. But what is the incentive? A lot of safety programs, like a lot of, driver reward programs have kind of gone away. And it's just an expectation that, I don't know. Maybe it's just, kind of the old days of when trucking was, guys taking uppers and downers and, burning the candle at two ends to make sure that a load got somewhere.
With that, I just wanted to say that I think too, with the lack of incentive, the lack of money, sometimes, like, you buy a truck, you buy a trailer, you get yourself in debt thinking, you're going to make good money, and things happen, that unforeseen things, and then people are struggling and people are trying to make payments. And yes, they have regulations and stuff like that. They have the e-logs and whatnot. You're not allowed to drive past this point. But I think what a lot of people don't understand is that before, I don't know if it still happens now because of the e-logs, but before, like when it was just paper logs, like people would just keep driving and driving and driving and they would lie on the paper logs, right? So they'd be driving, they're
They're,
tired.
they're- they were called lie books for a reason.
Oh, there you go. But you had people doing stuff like that, but now that you have the e-logs, it's a little trickier to do so. But what a lot of people don't realize, and I didn't even realize until I guess the past few years, is that sometimes when you see a truck and you see people driving in a truck, not everybody in that truck actually has their license. They're not all truck drivers in that truck. So the thing is, they have a bunch of people in a truck, so the truck keeps moving because truck don't make money and you don't make money once the truck stops and you stop. And with the way that inflation is and money and the lack of money, the lack of incentive, the lack of earning, people just need to keep going. And unfortunately, even taking your time off just to sleep is super stressful and people don't want to do it. So they literally have trucks sometimes that have like 4 or 5 people in them. So that truck never stops. But the sad thing is a lot of those cases you will find that only one person in that truck actually has their license. The rest of the people are driving without a license. And
Hold on, hold on. No, you need to stop. No, some do. Yes, some places do that,
yeah,
and these are the fly-by-night shitty companies that will not last, and they paint everyone else in a bad brush. That's not the norm.
okay, I think I worded wrong there. I am what I'm saying, when you see a lot, when there's like, I don't mean 2 man or 3 man, I'm talking like 5 people in a truck. I don't, there's been a lot of, or quite a few situations when this had happened. No, this isn't all the thing. There are lots of teams out there and stuff that all do have their proper license and stuff. So yes, I misworded. But it has been a thing and known that some people have done this thing.
Well, yeah, but well, so for anyone that doesn't know, a new truck is about $200,000. You can hear me peeing. I'm not peeing. I'm filling up my water bottle.
Thank God. I was just like, really? Are you actually peeing when we're on the
Filling up my water bottle
air? Sure.
with pee.
Gross.
No. Um. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and the reason why trucking is such a hard business to get into is the barrier to entry is about $300,000 for good equipment, new equipment that is supposed to be good, supposed to be. You listening, Kenworth?
Yeah, right. And that is if you do owner op and not just company guy, of course.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Starting. That's why I didn't say just driving.
Okay.
But so, yeah, you're before you even get on the road, you've already spent close to about $350,000. You have to obviously you have to pay that. Like,
You
and
do? It
that's
wasn't free?
nah, no. And most other businesses, they literally can just start from their garage. They start with a couple $100 in material and they produce something. So the barrier to entry is very high. The profit margins are very thin. But so, anyways, this is totally kind of besides the point. But so, in terms of like transportation, the guys, I'm a fan of more training, more education. If you're going to be regulating, I think any politician, any regulator hearing this, yeah, because our reach is that far.
It will be someday.
So if you are going to regulate as much as the transportation industry is, either red seal it or get rid of e-logs. Has to be one or the other. Because it's regulated so hard. Everything is absolutely regulated. How long you can stop, how long you can work. You know, and we've talked about this before, that there is, I understand that some guys, some girls, sorry, shouldn't assume, even though the industry is like 90% men.
Can
But
you please
some
recognize that 10% females, please? God.
But so there's no real incentive to do a good job, as weird as that sounds. You know, even pushing to get somewhere. I think, like, I'm not a fan of e-logs because I have to stop when I'm not tired, and I can, or most of the time, I have to start working when I am tired. Like, I have to be somewhere. I have an appointment. To me, an appointment is an obligation. I am obligated to be there at this time, if not earlier. Preferably earlier. You know, like for me today, I was 4 hours early at a customer. I can't read numbers, but I was there fucking early. That's for damn sure. But I think the e-logs is a very flawed system. I'm fine running off of 5-6 hours of sleep. I'm fine. Some guys aren't. Or some drivers aren't. So that's a big problem. That is a real big problem.
I'll agree. I've been with you on the road a plethora of times when that's exactly it. You know, you have to stop because, okay, well, I'm running out of time, but I'm wide awake. And then it
Wide
takes
awake.
forever to fall asleep. You get barely any sleep. And then, okay, well, now I got to drive. And now I'm dead tired. Instead of, because, you know, you got to wait for that reset of the clock to get some time back and your hours back. Like I think that's actually quite dangerous.
Oh, it's very dangerous. And one thing that was noticed, and you know, I understand why these regulations are in place. I totally understand it. Because some guys, they push it too hard. They start nodding off. Like, I was watching a video. It wasn't a truck driver, but it was an old man and his son were driving in a car, and you could see the telltale signs of him falling asleep. You know, he was straining his eyes, he was shaking his head, he was trying to do things to keep himself busy. And it's so weird just how fast you get tired and fall asleep. I don't know if that's just driver or if that's dispatch. I'm sure it can be a combination of the two, or it can be any variety of combination. But I understand why those regulations are in place. Too many people have been killed by 100,000 pound killing machine. I understand that. I also understand that there are. So I'll use this as a story. One place I was with, it wasn't a hard drive, but you had to move. Like, we had consistent appointments every single week. Those loads had to be there. Otherwise, big problems. Real fucking big problems. Like, you're paying for a plane to ship your load. Problems. So
That's the owner operator, not necessarily the company, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So a lot of this is coming from owner operator, independent side. So I was there was one driver. he would stop, no joke, about every hour at a truck stop.
I remember you telling me about him.
Not even every truck stop. So for anyone that knows this area, so it was a run that went from Winnipeg to Vancouver. So the driver would pick up their load. Obviously, they were heading from their load. About 45 minutes would be Brandon. They would stop in Brandon, Manitoba for a coffee or whatever. And their next stop was in Verdun, which is about another hour, maybe, from Brandon. They would stop in Moosomin, Saskatchewan. And then they would stop in, oh, what is that? I can't remember if it was Indian Head. I think it was something before Indian Head. There's another truck stop. I can't remember. There's like a co-op there. But so, whatever. They would stop there, which was like another hour, maybe 2 hours, and you get to Regina. Okay. Then they would stop in Swift Current, which is like another 2.5, 3 hours. Then they would get to Medicine Hat, Alberta, and they would stop again. That is in one day.
Now, in all fairness, with this discussion here, I am one of those people. I am not a truck driver for very good reason. um, I don't know if it was so many trips to Saskatchewan all the time with my parents and my family, whatever, to go visit family in Saskatchewan and going up to our cabin that's almost a 2-hour drive away. But I spent a lot of time in cars and I find them very relaxing. So I would sleep a lot in the cars. Like I just find driving very relaxing and I sleep. So for me, driving long distances, I'm going to fall asleep, which is why I am not a truck driver. Well, aside from my family, but like I could not do it. I've driven the truck when I'm with my husband sometimes, but that is very small distances, just a few hours. And then, okay, I'm getting tired. You got to take over. But I couldn't do it. I would be one of those people that would have to stop literally like every stop that came up just to, get the blood moving and get my head going so I don't fall asleep. That would be me, 100%.
Well, and like for me, when I have a load on the trailer, it takes everything in me that I have to stop. Because to me, the job isn't done until that product is off the trailer.
Oh, I know.
That's the way I look at it.
And let me tell you guys, again, I've been on the road with him many a times. Literally, I have to go to the bathroom. Is there a stop coming up? Well, we're not stopping. And then he would just like literally pull over on the side of the highway. Okay, hurry up. And away I'd have to really quickly go and we got to go again. Like this was like a 2-minute drive by here. Like there's no stopping. Like when he's got a load, like his mind is, this is my job. I got to get here. I have to get here. He does not like stopping at all. Which that's him, right? Like has a fantastic work ethic for something like this, and that's why you're so good at what you do, because you can do something that I could not. But yeah, so just gonna say, I think all from Manitoba all the way to BC, I think lots of people have seen my vagine along the way. You're welcome, Canada.
So maybe I should do like what this guy did. So this was an article from FreightWaves. A trucker was smoking opium while driving.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So a trucker was caught smoking opium while driving on a freeway in Ontario, which I assume, it was the 401. So that's like one of the busiest highways in all of Canada. Police pulled over the unidentified trucker on Ontario Highway 401, among the busiest in North America, late Friday after receiving a complaint that he was driving erratically. Sure enough, the police officer Bill Dickinson says he was smoking opium. And the driver was his license was suspended. They called the carrier, I guess his employer, the driver's employer. The guy was fired on the spot. One thing I found interesting in reading this article is you cannot fire someone for an addiction. So if someone's addicted to crack and they're well, let's just use the example here. If they're smoking opium, you cannot fire them.
Say what?
Yeah.
How not?
Canadian trucking companies also face tricky legal issues about drivers found to use drugs or alcohol in the job if addiction is a factor. While drivers can be fired for on-the-job substance use, federal and provincial laws also forbid termination on the basis of an addiction and require employers to accommodate it as a disability.
What?
Employers should. The distinction between firing for substance use itself versus an addiction is an important one. An Alberta coal mine loader driver who tested positive for cocaine after an accident contested his firing, alleging he was dismissed because of his addiction. His case ultimately went to Canada's Supreme Court, which concluded he was fired for violating his company's drug policy, not because of his addiction.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, hold on. Does this sound okay to you? Like that somebody could not be fired for their addiction? Like just outright. Does that sound okay to you?
I don't know if they have let's see. Okay, I'll say this.
Is their addiction affecting their work? Are they doing it in a place of work?
I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
Like if someone says, "Oh, I'm an alcoholic," to me, I would say, as long as you don't do it while you're on the job. If you're found doing it on the job, your ass is canned.
Well, right?
If you're doing opium while you're driving, yeah,
you're on the job.
So regulation, people are gonna break the regulations. Like if I really wanted to, I could just ignore my electronic log. It's not like it shuts the truck down. It doesn't do any of this crazy stuff. I just ignore it. I literally could just hold on.
Bless you, stole your soul.
Damn it. So yeah. I don't know what the fuck
won't shut off your truck. You could just ignore it.
Yeah. So if I really wanted to just break the law to do something to get a job done, well, I could do it. But
anybody could break the law to get a job done. It's not that hard. You could steal something. You could do substances. Of course, it's not that hard. I could sneak some vodka in my water bottle at work and just get plastered while I'm at work. But guess what? I would lose my job. Yeah, surprise. I'm just kidding. No, but I'd lose my job. And that's the thing, is it's against company policy is being inebriated on the job, using substances on the job. If you have a gambling addiction and you spend your entire time at home in a casino, okay, well, that's on you. But as long as you're not freaking doing shit while you're on the job, then okay. So, I mean, I get the fact of you can't fire someone for their addiction, but if it's directly affecting their job and they're directly doing it well on the job, 100% you should be able to. Get the fuck out.
Yes. So I guess I'll. Well, I don't know. I don't have really a good segue into this, but I'm gonna segue. So this was from CTV News, and it's titled, "So the workers who keep global supply chains moving are warning of a system collapse." Seafarers, truck drivers, and airline workers have endured quarantines, travel restrictions, and complex COVID-19 vaccination and testing requirements to keep stretched supply chains moving during the pandemic. But many are now reaching their breaking point, posing yet another threat to the badly tangled network of ports, container vessels, and trucking companies that move goods around the world. In an open letter Wednesday to heads of state attending the United Nations General Assembly, the International Chamber of Shipping, and other industry groups warned of a global transport system collapse. if governments do not restore freedom of movement to transport workers and give them priority to receive vaccines recognized by the World Health Organization. So there's been supply shortages in China. They're not producing enough. There are ports that are backed up with container ships that cannot offload their freight. There's drivers are leaving. There's problems all over the place. You can see it in your grocery bill.
Sure can.
So I guess this thing continues on with global supply chains are beginning to buckle as 2 years worth of strain on transport workers take their toll. So this group had wrote. The letter has also been signed by the International Air Transport Association, the International Road Transport Union, and the International Transport Workers Federation. Together, they represent 65 million transport workers globally. So
Crazy.
There's a lot in with this, and like I said, I maybe I'm just head in the sand and I'm not noticing it like on a global scale, but I haven't slowed down. I haven't really noticed a big slowdown, but I'm also one person looking at a very small section. But in terms of maybe other other commodities, I don't know. And it's a real I assume what these people are saying is true. Like I said, I do see the shipping containers are backed up at ports. China isn't producing enough, so in turn we don't get our shit. That shitty little, I don't know, dildo you wanted to buy? Well, it had to get made in China, so now you got the Wuhan virus in your sex toy.
Right? Like, can I not just find a dildo made in Canada? I mean, come the fuck on.
Whose dick do I gotta suck to get a fake dick around here?
Right?
So it's
See,
well,
that's
I
the
guess
sorry.
in terms of COVID, a lot of places, a lot of farmers, they had to just fallow their fields. They had to slaughter, hundreds of thousands of animals.
Oh my
because they
God.
can't afford it.
Yes, I remember hearing about that. That was so sad. Like, they had to just burn up their fields, and there was
And
one
replant them.
there was one farmer that was actually like his potato crops. He was taking them into a local town, and he was actually giving them away, which was super nice of him. Like, he's just like, here, take them, like, because they can't, like, they
Yeah.
couldn't go anywhere. And then the animals, oh my God, which is just so unbelievably sad. It really
Mm-hmm.
is. And the farmers that actually had to do the slaughtering of the animals and the reasons for it, it's not like it was an easy choice for them to have to make. But no money's coming in. They can't feed them. How are they supposed to feed these animals if they have, no one's taking their livestock from them, and no one's, buying anything. Do you know how expensive it is to run a farm and to feed all these animals? It's brutal. So then you have to look at, would you rather these animals starve to death or unfortunately get put out of their misery? So as sad as it was, the reasonings that they had to do it, I understand why. My sister works in a hog barn. So she had kind of explained a lot to me, and it made a lot more sense. Like, this is not an easy decision these farmers had to make.
Yeah. 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 It's I don't know if it's just because of a lot of the travel restrictions have caused this. So drivers have faced hundreds of border issues and blockades through the pandemic. Truck drivers and the citizens and businesses that depend on the goods they move, pay a heavy price for misguided COVID restrictions that do not exempt transport workers. All right. Well, I have my own opinion on that, but yeah, when places are saying unless you've had a vaccine, you cannot enter here. Oh, but we really need that stuff that's on your truck. Okay, so which one is it? But I don't know. There's apparently like there was fuel shortages. It's just if you're not like, I'll say that if you are not producing anything, you cannot buy anything. That is the basis of commerce. If you have nothing to give, you have nothing to get. And if nobody is producing anything, what do you think happens?
We get nothing and we all starve to death.
Exactly. So everyone, I'm sure everyone's heard, like, truckers are, they're looking at striking, and what is that going to do? 3 days. 3 days, your stores are empty.
And I don't think if anybody wants to think of how quickly that might go, think of when COVID first hit and everybody bought out all of the toilet paper. How quickly did you get toilet paper again? How long did it take for that to come in?
I
It
was trying to buy paper towel because I like to keep my trucks somewhat clean. I couldn't find paper towels.
Oh yeah, paper towels, Kleenexes, anything sort of paper thing that somebody could use to wipe their ass. It was gone. Anything that was what do you call it? Like cleaning stuff, Lysol wipes, antibacterial sprays, they were gone. Those aisles were empty. I have never seen such a thing in my life. Like I could not believe it. And like we have a family of 4, occasionally 5, and it, I mean, we got to wipe our asses. Like it was just I went to the store to go buy some toilet paper, not to hoard it. I couldn't even buy toilet paper to wipe my ass. I had to start calling family members asking to borrow toilet paper. Like how pathetic is that? Now, think of if the truck drivers stopped driving. Think of how quickly it was before you were able to get toilet paper again, how long that took. Now, if you don't have trucks coming every single day, not only for toilet paper, for your food, for your necessities, everything. Imagine what your stores are going to look like. Imagine the panic. There it's oh my
Well,
god.
there are some places that just say, like, hey, we don't have this stuff and we don't know when we're getting it.
I
So,
remember with the toilet paper thing, my dad would line up every single day at Costco and wait outside in line for over an hour to get in just to see if he could get toilet paper for us. He did this every day and it took 2 weeks for him to get toilet paper for us.
yeah. And so, like, well, toilet paper is made locally. Like, it's made within Canada. It's too big, it would cost way too much to ship. So a lot of it comes from BC, comes from Ontario. So people were freaking out. Oh God, if China's shut down, then we're not going to have anything. So it kind of feeds into its own hysteria that well, if there's a shortage, I'll grab another pack, like just in case. And then someone sees you grab it, and they're like, oh well, maybe I should grab another pack. And then all of a sudden, there's nothing left.
You got
They're
like 20 of
big,
them in your fucking cart.
yeah, and like I can see like some of the arguments. You don't need four, I don't know. Maybe you do. I don't see, but that's the thing. I don't know. Do you need 4 boxes of toilet paper?
No,
Maybe.
no.
Like maybe if you have like if you just love fucking taco night.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
everyone's so paranoid with this. So I don't. When this first started, I remember telling you like, hey, when you go shopping, just buy like an extra case of water, or no, not buy an extra. We don't buy bottled water, but I said just buy like a couple cases of water and buy like a couple more cans. That's it. Just when you go shopping, just grab a couple more cans.
Grab a little extra, and that's what people should be doing is okay, you're worried that, you might not be able to get stuff. Okay, grab a little bit extra. So
Hey,
everybody else
you,
can grab a little bit.
you know what they used to do in the olden days? They had a rag that they wiped their ass with and they would wash it. So I'm sure you can manage without toilet paper for a couple months. But I don't understand. Like, being like a quote unquote prepper has such a negative name, like, you know, a psycho man that builds a bunker in his, you know, in the middle of a forest, and he has it lined with MREs for 10 years, and he has you know, first aid kits, and he has ammo, and he has guns, and, you know, he's just a crazy wild man. Is it? But so here, hold on. You pride yourself on not being prepared for anything. That's what you pride yourself on. Having the I have a survival suit in the semi in the event that the truck breaks down during the winter. I have 2 heat sources on the semi. I have an APU, which is an auxiliary power unit, which keeps my batteries charged, fluids warm, and gives the truck heat or cools down when I need it. I also have an electric heater. It uses a bit of diesel, but a very minuscule amount to heat the cabin in case it, you know, one of the two. If the engine breaks down on the truck or the APU breaks down, I have a backup to my backup. So, wouldn't it, like, the worst case scenario is, you know, you buy a couple extra cans of food and they do nothing. They literally just do nothing, and they sit there, and I don't know, maybe in a couple years, hey, holy shit, I forgot about these. You crack open a can. That's the worst case scenario. Actually, the worst case scenario would actually be okay. So worst case scenario would be would be the whatever that disaster. Best case scenario, you got extra food. So
Yep.
I don't know. What?
I just said right.
Yeah. So like when this all first started, I just said, you know what? Go grab a couple extra cans, and we'll just put them in the basement and just leave them. So yeah. The last article I wanted to touch on, and this isn't going to be long, so you know, you don't have to sit for too much longer. So the driver from the Humboldt Humboldt accident, he had spoken out on well, this is from CTV News. So the 32-year-old, whatever, blah blah blah. So he is. When he first publicly spoke out, he said, "I am so sorry for the pain I have caused because it was my mistake. And that pain I regret every day. Seeing them every day in my dreams, losing their kids, losing their life partner, losing their brother and sister. And that happened because of me." He goes on to say, where is it now? He pleaded guilty to every single charge. Everything. It says he didn't offer a defense. He didn't try a plea bargain. He just said, "Yep, that was me. I did it." Good for him. Honestly, good for him. I would love to see anyone say, "Hey, you know what? You skimp when you have a couple extra pennies. You tell a homeless person, oh, you know, I'm sorry, I don't have the cash." But yes, you do. You got the couple extra bucks. But nah. If you jam the printer in your office, you would. I don't know how that happened. I just walked in and it was like that. Yeah, you were showing pictures of your fucking ass. You were printing and you're being one of those dudes. I know you. But he said, regardless of what the consequences was, or were going to be at that time, it was my fault. So he kind of recounts what happened on the day. So on April 6th, he was tasked with transporting a giant load of peat moss on tandem trailers across Saskatchewan on unfamiliar rural roads. He had challenges from the beginning. First, his trailers got stuck in the snow and he needed to find a tow. Then his tarps came loose and he feared losing his load. Finally, at 5 p.m., while he was checking his rearview mirror to see if his tires were solid, he missed a stop sign. A chartered bus carrying the Humboldt Broncos hockey club were approaching the intersection and couldn't stop in time, and they collided. He says, "My parents taught me if you ever do something wrong, accept it." And taking the Humboldt families through a lengthy process was definitely going to hurt them more, not less. You know,
Wow.
I have a lot of respect for that. It's terrible what happened, and I'll say, like, I've been in collisions with guys. You know what? There are guys that are brand new to Canada, probably no different than this guy. They just got to Canada, just got their driver's license, and I've had guys slam into me their first trip out. So I would put that blame on the companies. The company that he drove for, and I'm not trying to sound rude, I'm not trying to sound prejudiced. When someone is put into something completely unfamiliar and they have no training on it, and I mean meaningful training, an instructor can only do so much. Now look at the courses, the $12,000, $14,000 courses to make, and I've said this, to make what? Entry level, $30,000 a year? Okay. Any Red Seal certification. There's no, like, our systems are always updating. The equipment is changing. You know, everything is changing in the transportation industry constantly. We don't get updates on what's happening. Like, there's no types of programs for refreshers. Some companies do it. Very few. Most of them, fuck it. Throw them in the truck, see what happens. It's weird that every single transportation company I've been with, I've had to figure it out on my own. Everything on my own. And then what do? Hey Tyler, can you run not run teams but run in tandem with this guy? Just kind of show him what to do, or he's gonna phone you and tell him if you could tell him how to do X, Y, and Z. Why? What? When did I get tasked with being a fucking trainer? I did it. I'll do it. But like, first question was, you gonna pay me for it? But for me, I always had to figure it out on my own. But I think companies just, oh well, I'm gonna make a wild observation. I bet this transportation company that hired him, this trucking company, they didn't give a fuck. They probably did the bare bones minimum. They seen that he had a class 1, he was East Indian, so they already liked the guy. But what they'll do is, anyone that doesn't know, oh, you're here with a work visa. Good. So when you get into an accident, when something happens, I'll just kick you out.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know. I gotta say that, like, with, oh boy, this is a tough one.
I have heard trucking companies, and you know what? I was thinking about this today. I was thinking, should I call them out or not? Fuck yeah, I'm gonna call them out. Transex. I was in Transex. And I heard the dispatch saying, if you won't do this job, you can quit and I'll find someone that does. And he was talking to an East Indian guy. When I was an instructor, I would always tell my students, don't be afraid to say no. You have to say no. If you're tired, if you cannot stay up anymore, say, no, I need to go to sleep. I'm tired. Honestly, you can say, you and me, Kim, say we got a divorce. I can take time off because I am unfit to drive. That's all you have to say. I am unfit to drive. The guys don't know that. Companies will use their work visas as like almost like a bartering chip. If you won't do the work, well, then you can fuck off on whatever boat or whatever you came here on. Go back to your country. I have 10, 20 guys lined up to replace you already. So just say you can't do it. That's the type of stuff that trucking companies, and I said I will call out TransX directly because I was in their building when I heard their dispatcher saying that. TransX is not a small company. They're one of the largest in Canada, if not in North America. That's what I heard one of their dispatchers say. And you know what? Fuck you. How about that? Fuck you. Because it paints everyone. It puts such a pressure on new drivers. And then we have more laws, more regulations, less autonomy to do anything. You can't make a fucking decision for yourself. Even for me, the company that I'm contracted with, hey, could you show me how to do da 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 da? No, I'll just do it. No. How about let me do it? How about I don't like fucking talking to you? How about I don't want to talk to you, so I'd rather not talk to you and so I could do it myself? But these guys don't know. Like, I keep saying guys, sorry, you know what? The industry's 90% fucking man, okay? Sorry, women. Guys, neutral. It's neutral. But these new drivers, they don't know how to say no. They say, I can't. I would love to, but I can't. And then this is what happens. So either get rid of the ELD, increase pay, increase training, make it a Red Seal certified industry. Have a hard line with shippers. Like I said, I don't know. I'm not a pro-union guy. But how many more Humboldt accidents need to happen? And this is what I said when this happened. Finally, are people finally going to notice and something will happen? No, they just throw more regulations in place. That's all they did. No meaningful change. No long-term change. Okay, now you have to spend $12,000 instead of $2,000. Yeah, there's more training involved, obviously. They're fucking better if you're 6 times sixing the bloody tuition.
Well, I think in that case, like at that point, like when you have to spend that much money, it's more of a deterrent, you could say. Like not a lot of people are going to have that money or be able to get that funding to get that done. So maybe only people who are actually serious and want to do this job will pursue it.
So there was, while I was an instructor, so I would do they were driver evaluations. So I checked to make sure that drivers, actually knew how to do their job. Pre-trip a truck, knew how to drive it. And then we'd go for a little zip, and I would evaluate them. And I don't know if I ever said this publicly. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. One honor that I got, I wore this as a badge of honor. That one customer, like one company that we did evaluations for, he called me an asshole. He said, he's an asshole. Good. Because he said, maybe I did say this before, but I was looking for a reason to fail you. Because I see the knock-on effect of someone unprepared, unprofessional, and incapable of doing a job. I see the knock-on effect. Humboldt is the knock-on effect. So I would say as an evaluator, Yeah. If I can find a way to maybe at least bring up the standards a little bit, okay, then I'll do that. So I don't know, gone on quite a bit, but okay. So here's one thing when I was teaching. Any of the schools that were our direct competitors. If you were a Caucasian guy, they would charge you the $4,000 to $6,000 to do the course. If you were an East Indian guy, they would charge you $2,000 just to prepare you for the test. And then what would they do? Well, you fail. Oh well, for another $1,000, we'll teach you some more. So it was always just enough in order for the driver to pass. Sometimes the driver just never passed. So that was the couple. Well, those are kind of two stories blended into one. One was they would charge a Caucasian person $4,000 to $6,000. They would charge an East Indian, or I shouldn't just say East Indian, but that's typically a lot of what the industry is nominated. But yeah, well, but that's the thing. You can't say immigrant because it wasn't. If it was an East Indian school and you were East Indian, they gave you a discount. They wouldn't give that to a Chinese person or a Korean person.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah. So no, it wasn't just an immigrant. Then that's why it sounds like I'm just ragging on East Indian. No, it's just this is what was happening.
I know that there were some of the schools too that would have I guess a doctor on staff, because in Manitoba you have to not only have to pass the knowledge test. After you pass the knowledge test, then you have to get a medical form filled out from a medical practitioner stating that you are fit to be driving a class 1 um, vehicle. Um, and I had heard of some of the schools actually having a doctor kind of in their back pocket that would just sign these forms. He wouldn't actually see them. He would just sign them. Just put whatever down and sign it and give it to them. Here you go.
If that's true, then this whole thing is a fucking facade. Like, unless there's there will never be meaningful change until more accidents like that happen. And the sad thing is, they do. This isn't the one and only one, but this is the one that got world attention.
Yeah.
Where North America woke up and said, "Holy shit! Maybe we should have some type of standard, Canada." But it's just lip service. It's just, oh well, then people have to pay more. Okay, but you're not solving the problem. People complain about driver shortages. They complain about shipping problems. Well, how do you think you get a better system? Companies, and you know what, and I've said it too. You know what? Guys don't want to do the job. Good, give it to me. I'll do it, and they won't have a job because I'll do it better and faster than them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm the product of my own greed or my own desire, but I don't know.
See,
It's
this is a
hmm?
really this whole situation here, I guess, is kind of a really tricky one. I remember when it first came out that I mean, a lot of speculation was, and I had thought too, well, maybe they were texting and driving or just not paying attention, because that's what people think when you get into an accident, especially of this grand nature. Like, people think you're just not paying attention. Like, how could you not see? And people think the worst, aka, texting and driving or just being distracted, not
Yeah.
thinking of just looking in a. It's funny that they said rearview mirror, but you don't have rearview mirrors, it'd be your side mirrors. But regardless, anyway, um, I don't know. Like, I guess a lot of people had such a hate on for him. And I mean, I'm not going to deny the fact that I was kind of one too, but I guess more in light of this article and just kind of, I don't know. I really don't have that much of a hate on for him. Like it was a very tragic accident, and it's very sad that this even had to happen. But I mean, he didn't run. He stood there. He took his punishment. Wasn't even gonna defend himself. He's just like, I did something horrible. I'm haunted by this every day. I'm so sorry. And he's taking what it is that he is given. He's not fighting back. And I guess now I was reading more into that article that you had there, that they're talking about how now he is subject to deportation because anything, I guess, a sentence, anything more than 6 months, you're subject to deportation. And people are actually kind of fighting back, trying to not have him deported. They said that there's actually a 415-page binder outlining why Sidhu should not be deported. Like, he did do this crime, but he's remorseful. He lacks criminal history. He's low risk to reoffend. And he wants to stay here because he thinks he owes Canada. And he wants to do his time here. He said there's no point in running from things. All he can do is try and make it better. And the sweet, sad thing is that I guess one of the kids who died in the crash, his father is actually one of the Scott and Laurie Thomas, his parents, were actually actively working to keep him in Canada because they don't think he should be deported.
Yeah,
They
like
understand that it's an
yeah,
accident. Like, that actually kind of really played on my heartstrings quite a bit.
yeah. Well, and it's like I said, it's more of a holding the company responsible. Yeah, you can hold a driver responsible, and yeah, you're everyone that is a truck driver. You can tell a professional from a novice.
Yeah.
You can tell. And obviously, this guy had no idea. He had no idea. So would you blame a baby? Yeah, I'm going to compare him to an infant because his knowledge, he doesn't even know what he doesn't know.
Yeah. It's a good way in putting it. 100%.
You wouldn't punish a child for pulling the dog's tail. You wouldn't beat the shit out of the kid because they pulled the dog. No, just okay. No, we don't do that. They don't know better, or I don't know, trying to jump on, trying to run into a pool. Like, well, no, you can't do that because you don't know how to swim. You're going to drown and die.
Yeah.
So that's how I would look at that. I would hold the company more responsible than the driver.
It's
Maybe
funny.
if there was some type of like Red Seal certification, okay, then I could see putting the onus on the driver as opposed to the company. That I would understand. But
It's funny because when you first started saying that the company was getting fined $5,000 because of this, I'm sitting there thinking, why? Like, how is this the company's fault? It makes a lot more sense now. 100%. Like, I totally get it.
yeah. All
Sorry.
right. So
Yeah. So, I mean, I totally get it in that fact. And I truly believe, yes, that the company should be held more responsible. And $5,000 being fined for everything that had transpired, I don't think is enough. I really don't. That seems
no,
like pocket change for the fact of 16 people losing their lives and 13 people being injured. And to be honest, you even have an additional person who is losing 8 years of his life. Yes, it's not his entire life, but he's losing 8 years of his life, and his life is forever going to be changed because of this. So
yeah.
I think the company 100% should. $5,000 is nothing. That's not enough.
Okay. So I think we kind of hammer this home. Let's end on some SJW psychoness.
Oh,
So the big BC Human Rights Tribunal has forced a Gibbons, BC restaurant to pay $30,000 to an employee that management refused to refer to them by they, them pronouns. So when Jesse Nelson, who identified as non-binary, requested that co-workers observe the pronouns, bar manager Brian Gobel instead began referring to Nelson as sweetheart, honey, and pinky. So this is what happens, and I'm just going to make a general statement here. When you criminalize speech, this is what happens.
I can't even. Oh my God.
When you criminalize speech, this is what happens. You said something that hurts my feelings, therefore you must pay.
Wow. I mean, okay. I can't. This is just such insanity. Like, I'm sorry, I can't even have like a normal conversation about this because this is insanity. Somebody didn't say, what?
No, what?
Somebody didn't say they or them. And you're going to sue them for $30,000. Seriously?
I can see both. I can, you know what? The forever centrist I am. I can see both sides of this. They were saying, you know, maybe they were being derogatory, and they were actually, you know, making the workplace unworkable. But on the other side, I could see that free speech link. Well, he's just calling. Okay, then, sweetheart.
Well, have you ever thought
when I see sweetheart and honey, I don't think of someone being spiteful. Like, I'll call you sweetheart or honey. I don't know about pinky.
I call people sweetie all the time. All the time.
I think I just got it. Okay, maybe I'm projecting a little bit, or maybe trying to put something on. But wouldn't pinky is like a baby mouse is called a pinky, like you're a little baby? Maybe?
I don't know, your baby finger. I don't know.
That would be my guess, where pinky's kind of But like I said, this is what happens when you criminalize speech. When someone says something that hurts your feelings. So then say, hey, how about fuck yourself, Brian? Go Bell. I would rather go Bell a dude's balls than look at your ugly face. There you go. Then he goes, holy shit, okay, I respect you.
Right? That's just what I don't understand. Okay, for one, I'm just going to say, what if, let's just say, somebody came up to me and said, I want you to go at me for they, them pronouns. And I am afraid that I am not going to, say it. So it's just easier for me to call him sweetie instead of using they, them. Okay. This is a completely innocent perspective, but like, I don't see anything wrong with that. If this person was doing it in a derogatory way, then I understand the pushback. However, stand the fuck up for yourself. If somebody is saying something to you that's hurting your feelings and they're not respecting you, then either stand up to them, go to their manager, go to their higher manager, go to the owner, do something. Like, sit there and then, okay, you know what? I asked this and this is my response. Maybe have a meeting together where you have somebody like a mediator that's in there and can kind of keep things kosher. And okay, this is their problem. This is their perspective. They're hurt by this. And then you started calling them this. Can you please explain this? And then if it is coming from a completely innocent place where the guy's like, listen, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be rude. It's just, I'm scared that I'm not going to call you by the proper thing because this isn't something that is normal for us. We weren't grown up on this. So,
So here, this was from Fact Check AFP. So the question was, or I guess the response was, no, Canadians cannot be jailed or fined just for using the wrong gender pronouns. So remember, Jordan Peterson was saying that this is the slippery slope we're on. B SIL 16, SIL C16. Since Bill 16, an amendment to the Canadian Human Rights Act, became law in 2017, several online medias have spread the idea that Canadians could be jailed or fined simply for using an incorrect gender pronoun. Well, there you go. While the aim of the law is to add gender identity and gender expression to the list of illegal grounds for discrimination, Bill C-16 cannot force anyone to use a specific pronoun. No Canadian has been jailed or fined for using the wrong gender pronoun. So this is the thing with, so there you go. Case in point right there. Yep. No, you can't be jailed for it. You can't be fined for it. Does anyone remember Scott Ward that made a joke about a child that had like a terminal illness? And he's like, yo, he got his Make-A-Wish thing and he didn't die. Should we get our money back? It was a joke. And he got fined for it. So, good on you, Scott Ward. All right, let's get the fuck out of here.
I agree.
Unless you have something to say.
My dog's got lots to say in the background, though, however. So thank you for everybody for listening to what we have to say today. Don't forget to like, subscribe.
Shut up, Dougie.
No, hold on. Like, subscribe, listen to us on all of our platforms, leave comments. If there's something you want to hear us talk about and hear our opinions on, just leave it in the comments below. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram. We are everywhere. We're everywhere. We're following you. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend and a fantastic Monday so far. Well, it's going to be first thing in the morning when you hear this, but you know.
Wait, hold on. You gotta smash it.
What are we smashing?
Like button.
Oh yes, smash the like button. Kick it. Headbutt it. Do whatever with it. Even the thumbs down. I don't give a fuck. Just do something. All right, everybody. Thank you again. And we will see you in a couple days. Bye. Oh my God. Really? You burped on the way out? You burped on the way in? You burp on the way out. That's hot. All right. Bye, guys. Ew.